Hello and happy Friday. If you are new here, my name is Maddie, and if you are not new here, then thank you so much for returning. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, so I definitely appreciate the return to my channel. Today we are going to start the world building and outlining process for my next book. This book is not going to be in the TCF universe because I just really want a break from the characters and plots while it is with the editor. So this is going to be setting up a new world and new characters for another story idea that has been in my brain for some time. I'm really excited to take everything that I have learned through the writing process for this Cruel Fate thus far and implement it into this. I'm going to set up the solar system that is going to be the universe and set up planets and start building the conflicts and cultures, political systems, any belief systems, things like that. So that's what we're going to be working on this week. And if you'd like to follow along, then please feel free to continue watching. I feel like I have so much more, that I have such a better idea of how much time I need, how much I should put into pre-planning and pre-work before I even start the first draft. And I definitely want to have a stronger outline and document for the world that I have. There have been some times where I've gotten questions about the world or some part of my world for this Cruel Fate, and in my mind, I'm like, yes, that's such a good question, because I'm also questioning that and I don't have an answer, and I really don't want that for this book. I really want to continue to improve and grow from where I have been. So that's what we're going to take. I have planned 4 weeks for this outlining and world building, so I'm very excited to dive into that and build a more comprehensive vision for what I'm trying to write. This week we are focusing on world building, and this is going to be a science fiction universe. I'm going to lean much more into the science fiction aspect of the genre, probably more science fantasy because I'm not very science minded, so it's going to be a lot of suspension of disbelief, but I definitely want to have space travel and planets more along the lines of Dune or Star Wars than anything else. I think in terms of the world building, global interplanetary politics and conflicts. And in my head, this is going to be more lighthearted than this Cruel Fate, but I think whenever I try to do something lighthearted, I just think of in The Nightmare Before Christmas, when the Halloween town, they want to make Christmas and it still is like scary and not very like wholesome and Christmas-like. That's what I think. I'm like, I want to do something lighthearted and then it still has high stakes and war and this or that. I think that's just my style as a writer. I like to do more serious topics, but it's not going to be as heavy in subject matter in my opinion. I think it will be like a little bit more lighthearted. I'm hoping there's not too much of a glare on my screen right now, but I was on TikTok and someone shared this link for this Tumblr account that is dedicated to world building and specifically for science fiction and fantasy. I will put a link in the description and on the screen as well, but it is world building question of the day.tumblr.com, but it's not those words spelled out. It's wbqotd.tumblr.com, and it is a place just dedicated for world building, and there are different questions. So these top posts are, if someone wanted to destroy your world, how could they go about it? what was the worst man-made disaster in your world's history? And yeah, so it's just very comprehensive and things that you wouldn't always think about. There's also a master list of questions in chronological order on Google Docs, and then there is also a list of tags for specific topics. So there's architecture, astronomy, attitudes, belief systems, celebrations, children, death, demographics, disability, economics. It goes down, down, down. There's weapons and warfare, travel, the arts, technology, symbols. The Google Docs, I made a copy, and it is just over 1,000 questions about your world. And I'm not sure that I will use or answer all of these because it is quite extensive and just very thorough, but I think it is a great place to start and kind of read through. I've started reading through them, and yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff that I just wouldn't have thought about or put inside of my like world building document without reading these. And so I think it's just a really good resource to start with and make sure that you are taking a comprehensive look into what you are including in your world and making sure that you have everything to create like a well-rounded, believable world as well. I don't really think you can see the screen of my iPad right now, but I did a really quick little drawing on Procreate. Art is not my strong suit, but I just did a quick little drawing of what I want my solar system to look like with planet names, starting to name the moons. My biggest desire for this story is to be able to create a world that I can go back to for future narratives, not necessarily just keeping it to these characters. And I don't know if that's a little self-indulgent or whatever, but I just really like the idea of having a world where you can keep going back to, keep exploring and creating new stories in the same place. I have just always really liked that idea, so that's kind of what I'm hoping to build with this, but I do have a specific story in mind. Today, I really want to focus on 2 planets. They are at the center of the conflict for this story and building up their political structures and economies and what is at stake for each of them with this conflict. Checking back in, I have been working on my document and I'm actually really proud of where I'm at with it. I am just not a planner by nature, so even though it's not like the most in-depth thing ever, it's definitely more than I am used to doing or would be doing, so I'm pretty proud, and I definitely think that setting up the settings kind of helped direct the plot in my head, and I have some more ideas of where to take things and things that need to happen. So I'm very excited and really proud of the progress that I've made. So next we're going to work on creating the characters, since that is one of my most favorite parts. Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm gonna start making the characters, and I also had a lot of fun learning so much. Since this story has like elements of space travel and like spaceships and all that good stuff, of course I had to like research space travel, and I learned that if we could travel at the speed of light, we could literally get to the moon in like 1.2 seconds, and I thought that was just really interesting. I love learning things like that. So yes, it was a very fun process of research and setting up like the technology and advancements for this world. So yeah, I'm very excited to have a good foundation, and I'm super excited to get to the characters and getting to the outlining stage and then the drafting stage. So I think that's all I have for this week's video. I will catch you next week as we create characters. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed and you would like to leave a thumbs up or a comment or subscribe to my channel, that would be amazing. And yes, just thank you again, and I'll see you next week.